3, 2, 1. Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy Nipsey coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today on the channel. So I want to show you guys how to get that key GLOCK mainstream, still hard and greedy trap vocal sound. So let's not waste no time. Let's get on the grind and listen to how this vocal preset sound.
Yeah, I work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches. Yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas. Yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off. Still killing this shit, my bag out. Diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog. Yeah, I work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches. Yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas. Yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off. Still killing this shit, my bag out. Diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog. Yeah, I work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches. Yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas. Yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off.
Okay, so you guys get a general understanding of the type of file we working with today, man. Okay, so this is that Memphis type of vocal style. So if you guys do like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as well. Don't forget to check out the Patreon where we drop those super secret gems, live, exclusive, private gems. If you like the channel and you want even more of this game, check out the Patreon. So yeah, I love Key GLOCK. He's a great artist from Memphis. And, you know, he was always associated with, you know, Young Dolph, who's another legendary rapper from Memphis. So this template kind of, you know, applies to the same, you know, type of vocal style, which is that ghetto type of Memphis, you know, a hard, gritty street vocal. So let's not waste no time too. Let's listen to what it sound like with and without the presets. See how much of a difference the preset was making.
Yeah, I work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches. Yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas. Yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off. Still killing this shit, my bag out. Diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog. Yeah, I work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches. Yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas. Yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off. Still killing this shit, my bag out. Diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog.
So with this specific Key GLOCK vocal main, I'm gonna be saying that a lot. People in Memphis say that main? Yeah, I'm gonna be saying that a lot. Shout out to all my people who be watching me in Memphis. Trust me, everybody who fought with me that's from Memphis, I know about you. Trust me, I see where people be, you feel me? Like, you know, coming through and all that stuff like that, copping the templates. So, you know, shout out to everybody in Memphis. I appreciate y'all. And you know, with the Key GLOCK preset, one thing I was going for is clean but punchy and gritty, because that's one thing that I feel like, you know, really makes that street rap, that Key GLOCK type of rap, you know, that ghetto rap, that Memphis, Maine type of rap is just something that really punchy, that really cuts through. So that's what I was going for with Key GLOCK. And a part of getting something like that is managing the high mid, specifically with somebody like Key GLOCK. You know, I'm just really trying to control his overall mid range. The very first EQ move I did was kind of just finding a couple of the notches in the low shelf. And it's interesting how like I was controlling this low shelf towards the end, because like, look, you know, I had my low shelf and my notches kind of moving like a hydraulics or something like that on a whip, you know, in LA or whatever. But whoop-de-whoop, main thing about it is I was just really controlling just controlling my mid-range, you know, on the Key GLOCK. You know, I was just kind of clearing out the mid-range, kind of mopping the floor a little bit, dusting the table a little bit of the mid-range, kind of getting it all cleaned up, so that when I came over here to my high shelf, also controlling the Q of my high shelf, I was kind of like dipping like the 4.5, 3K, like that little nasally I chew Kleenex frequency is what I call it. I kind of use the Q of the shelf to, like, you see, like kind of how I dipped it out and everything like that. Yeah, so I kind of use that to like do like a cut and boost, pretty much kind of managing the high mid, because that high mid is where the consonants are at. That's what I want with a Key GLOCK vocal, something that really cuts through, that the streets could really feel, you feel me? So yeah, let's listen to it with or without.
Yeah, I work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches. Yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas. Yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off. Still killing this shit, my bag out. Diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog. Yeah, I work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches. Yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't.
So as you guys can hear, just really just cleaning up the vocal, and not necessarily going for like a bright vocal necessarily, but really clean and really punchy. And that little kind of dip that I get from just controlling the cue. That's very important to know the cue as well. You know, kind of doing like a dip down in that little the Kleenex tissue frequency, the Windex frequency, the you know, the napkin frequency, the tissue frequency. Pretty much kind of doing like a dip down right there to kind of like, I would say, to cut off a little bit of the harshness. I'm really managing the top of the mid range right now, but yeah, I'm doing a little boost on the top, and of course, I'm kind of using a boost and cut situation too, where one is EQ boost and cut, but then this one is like a dynamic boost and cut, which is like me EQing into my de-esser and everything like that. So let's look at that too.
These bitches, yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off. Still killing this shit, my bag out.
So essentially, I kind of want my de-esser to be doing the same amount of dB that my EQ is doing, like 3 dB. So, you know, pretty much just really controlling the high end, but allowing it to like wiggle like a worm in the dirt and everything like that. That's where that boy GLOCK came from. He came from the dirt. So that's what I still want. I still want to maintain that realness, that rawness, but also, you know, package it and prep it in a certain way that is presentable in the song. You feel me? I still want it to have a little bit of that street nail biting, teeth biting grit. You feel me? So after that, we have the C4 pop vocal preset. Of course, we know I always love using that, kind of like a wideband on the mid-range specifically. I think I slowed it down a little bit more with the, you know, kind of like the lower end of his vocal. And I vividly recall I was opening this up, the bands a little bit, just trying to really tonally shape GLOCK's vocal. Of course, like how I said, I want his vocal to feel like Javante Davis in the 8th round. I want his vocals to feel like Mike Tyson with an uppercut. I want it to cut through specifically, and I'm using the dynamic EQ of, you know, dynamic multiband dynamic of the C4 to kind of do a little bit of that processing, you know. And of course, I went in there and I changed the behavior. So rather than a bunch of, you know, fast jabs, it's a little bit more slower. So that's what the behavior of the C4 is changing into, and also the release time. You know, usually when you start up, it's going to be on automatic release, but I have it on manual releases. So, you know, pretty much just kind of lets this influence it more.
I work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off. Still killing this shit, my bag out. Diamonds on my GLOCK, you a bad dog. I work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off.
So I love that C4 preset on his vocals. You kind of feel like it's starting to smooth out the consonants a little bit because he got a lot of consonants. So that for me in mixing as an engineer, I'm always thinking about like my transient management. I don't want too much transients. You know, I still want it to still feel very tangible. I still want a little bit of those gusts of air, but especially with a rapper like cuz work, saying all that stuff back to back, like it can kind of like start to be a little bit overwhelming for a listener. And that's the thing about music. A lot of people don't know how to hear, but if they start to feel like they're overwhelmed with the transients or whatever type of harshness or whatever, you know, it's going to be in a situation where they might necessarily hear it. The audience might not hear it, but they're going to feel it. It's going to maybe leave a displeasant feeling in them. And the song ain't going to have no replay value like that. So after that, we're using the API compressor 2500 on the vocals. And I understand that this is VCA topology, and the API 2500 is very well known for giving a lot of punch. So that's why I picked this one specifically, because I want a punchy vocal. I established that before I even made any of my moves. I want a punchy Memphis vocal. Before I even established that, before that, I already knew he was from Memphis. I already kind of had an idea of what Memphis was like. It was a tough, gritty place, you know what I mean? So that's what the music got to sound like. I can't make it sound like no white picket fences in the suburb, because it's just going to sound like it's out of place. It's going to sound like if you're trying to eat, you know, pancakes during dinner time. I don't know if people do that, but for the most part, you kind of associate pancakes with breakfast. So, you know, it got to be at the right place in the right time. So that's what I kind of think about too. Like when I'm mixing as an engineer for the artist, where the hell this man came from? What is it like being over there? You know what I mean? So API 2500 giving a little bit of punch to his vocal. And of course, I'm using variable release, a somewhat slow attack, letting a lot of my transients come through because I still want those. A faster attack will kind of start to take away a little bit more of the initial impact of the words. But I'm also using the new feed forward mode, which also kind of gives like a bitey kind of aggression.
Work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches. bitches, yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag out. Still tryna take my ops head off. Still killing this shit, my bag out. Diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog. Work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off, ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off, fuck nigga bag out, still tryna take my ops head off, still killing this shit, my bag out, diamonds on my.
And of course, with the API, you get a bunch of features that make it really versatile for especially like a rap vocal, different needs, different side chains, and everything like that. Okay, after that, we have the SSLG here. I feel like this was very important for Key Glock because it added another layer of a little bit of edge to his vocals specifically. You know, that's what I would describe the SSLG was doing here. It was giving a little bit more edge to Key Glock's vocals. So of course, you know, shaping that low mid, you know, only doing a little bit of filtering, just a little bit, because I've already done a lot of filtering so far with my REQ and also kind of like, you know, handling everything 100 and below with also my C4, so nothing too aggressive, using a little bit of the limiter. And of course, the limiter on the SSLG, it kind of really has a way of adding a little bit of transient enhancement, a little bit of abruptness, a little bit of, excuse me, sir, hello? Do you hear me, man? To Key Glock's vocal. That's what I kind of wanted to do. You feel me? So let's listen to it with and without.
Work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off, ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off, fuck nigga bag out, still tryna take my ops head off, still killing this shit, my bag out, diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog. Work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off, ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off, fuck nigga bag out, still tryna take my ops head off, still killing this shit, my bag out, diamonds on my. Work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off, ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran.
Listen to when it says work my ass off. Listen to how like you kind of, it feels a little bit more 3D. That's a great way to use compression. You know, at the transient enhancement, listen to that work my ass off. Now you really feel like, oh damn, that nigga really showed up to his job. Work. The other one sounds a little bit less convincing. And for me, that's kind of the language of compression. So listen to it with and without. Listen to the work, how it kind of starts to like pump real quick. And that's kind of due to the nature of a limiter, you know, it kind of has a little bit of a pumping type of effect with that fast release. Look.
Yeah, I work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off, ain't tryin' none of these. Yeah, I work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off, ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off, fuck nigga bag out, still tryna take my ops head off, still killing this shit, my bag out, diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog.
And now it kind of starts to make the vocal a little bit more intelligible too, because now that you hear those consonants, now you fully understand what Key Glock is saying. Excuse me, Mr. Key Glock, can you speak up, man? That's what the compression is doing, essentially. That's what a limiter is doing. It's kind of squeezing the dynamic range, but now, because everything is packed a little bit more into that Lunchables box, you feel me? Now it's easier to consume the consonants, to see like what he's really saying, to get his idea off across. So that's a great way to use compression. It's not about no taming, no peaks, man. After that, we have R.I.P right here. Of course, R.I.P bringing in some presence energy, some big body bends, G-Wagon type of energy.
Work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off, ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off, fuck nigga bag out, still tryna take my ops head off, still killing this shit, my bag out, diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog.
Another really cool thing you can do is hop on the R.I.P like this. Like you can start on your R.I.P. You know how I started off was like I highlighted both of them and I kind of pulled it down. I don't know if that necessarily level matches it, but that's a dope way to use R.I.P though. You know, you just highlight both of them and the volume won't jump up so abruptly and crazy. You'll kind of be able to at least hear what the R.I.P compression is doing. So that's the thing about, for me personally, so I want my compression to not be heard all the time, but when I go to a specific compressor for tone or weight or transient enhancement, you know, I will kind of make it a little bit more obvious, but incrementally though. So different ways to approach that compression shit, man. It's not about taming no peaks, man. After that, we have the C6, and what I was kind of doing right here is I was kind of finding like that low mid resonance. It started to build up after I started packing everything into that box. You know what I mean? Like, because pretty essentially what you're doing with compression is you're taking all of your stuff that you might have in your room or dirty clothes or whatever, and you're putting it into like a bin, right? You're squeezing all of this stuff into this bin. So because it's inside of a bin, you can push everything and squeeze it in more. That's what compression is doing. It's really squeezing your vocal. I don't see it squeezing as like, oh, taming peaks. I see it squeezing as like the tone, like the way it's speaking to you. You know what I mean? You got to imagine it like if somebody was like constipated or some shit like that, man, and they was trying to talk to you, they would be like squeezing their body a little bit and they would start talking a little bit differently. So that's the same shit with compression. No pun intended. That's the same shit. So after that, we had the high shelf as well too. And the thing about the high shelf is at that point, like I'm still trying to control the impact of the words, you know, but I'm not trying to do it with the wideband compressor, like the API 2500, the SSLE at that point. You know, I don't want to compress the whole thing because my low mid is sounding good. The rest of my mid range is sounding good. So at that point in time, I just wanted a little bit of control over the top end, just to tickle the very, very top of the consonas, the very top of that, those impact, the very edge of Key Glock's, you know, vocal. You know, sometimes like when Gordon Ramsay be in the kitchen cooking up and carrots, he'd be like, fuck, this knife is too sharp. Yeah, it's possible for a knife to get too sharp. It's possible for a vocal to get too clear and too cut. And that's what I use the C6 for. So of course the high shelf, I understand that higher end frequencies, like everything above like the Ks and stuff like that, like 2K, 3K, 4K, 5K, 6K, 7, 8K, all that stuff like that, it moves faster than low end energy. Low end energy moves slower, but high end energy moves faster. So you see the release time is also faster as well, and the attack time is also faster, and I'm just nibbling it on a little bit.
Yeah, I work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches. Yeah, I work my ass off, ain't tryin' none of these niggas. Yeah, I ran that bag off, fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off, still killing this shit, my bag out. Diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog. Yeah, I work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches. Yeah, I work my ass off, ain't tryin' none of these niggas. Yeah, I ran that bag off, fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off, still.
Like when you hear still trying to take your mic's head off, like I kind of don't want that high end to overwhelm you a little bit too much. So that's why I use that high frequency limiter pretty much, you know. I really got inspiration for high frequency limiters from like the Fatso, the UAD Fatso is where I kind of got it from. And even tape does that too. Like it starts to limit the high frequencies as well, like, you know, around the top end pretty much. So stuff like that started me be like, damn, I could even use a C6, like a high frequency limiter to control the top end, like how tape or anything would do it, but without getting the cons of making that shit sound, oh, I want this shit to sound brand new, like it just came right out the package, right out the plastic for Key Glock, you feel me? So another plugin that's contributing it to making it sound like it's fresh and clean is that fresh air, that Febreze. This plugin reminds me of Febreze because when you spray it on the vocal, it starts to become so nice and fuzzy and clear and everything like that, all right? So let's bypass it in and out.
Work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches. Yeah, I work my ass off, ain't tryin' none of these niggas. Yeah, I ran that bag off, fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off, still killing this shit, my bag out. Diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog. Work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches. Yeah, I work my ass off, ain't tryin' none of these.
So essentially what it's doing to Key Glock's vocal at this point, I still want it to be still a nasty downside vocal, but I just want to add a little sprinkle on top of it. You know, sometimes when you got a little ice cream, you got to put just a little sprinkles on top of it, even though it's already sweet, even though my vocal is already sweetened and processed and kind of the way I want it to be sitting inside of the cone. You feel me? The ice cream cone, which is the vocal. I just put a little sprinkle of that fresh air just to enhance the flavor of what's already there. You feel me? After that, we have the Kramer master tape. I'm using this preset Vox de-esser pretty much. Like I said, another high frequency limiter, but it's with the tape pretty much. And this tape machine, which is the Kramer master tape, Eddie Kramer, who was Jimi Hendrix engineer, he used to use this shit. And I just kind of like to push the wow and flutter a little bit because it kind of gives like this, I don't know what I can say, this non-linearity to the vocal. I don't want it to sound too clean and too perfect because that's not what life is like in Memphis. I don't know. I never been to Memphis, but I know some people from Memphis though. You feel me? I know some people from Memphis. So people who from Memphis, let me know down below. Is it, you know, am I right when I say, oh, I got to make it sound gritty. I got to make it sound like the streets because that's what people going to relate to, or am I wrong for saying something like that? So yeah, let's listen to it with and without.
I work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches. Yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off. Still killing this shit, my bag out. Diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog. I work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah,
and that's how my vocals sound so smooth. Like all of that stuff is now really starting to feel a little silky, a little bit smooth. Now it's wiggling a little bit. Now it's not sounding cold and harsh. Now it's feeling good. That's because I use something like tape saturation specifically at this point in time. You feel me? So listen to it with and without again. And it's giving me my brightness.
My ass off, can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off. Still killing this shit, my bag.
You still hear everything, still killing this shit. Like you still hear all of that quote unquote what they call the BS YouTubers call that's that harshness. You gotta get rid of that. You gotta zap that up. Hell no, I need that. That's what makes it feel real. You feel me? That's what makes it feel like, damn, he on the street, he on the corner, he posted up with a black and mild or some shit like that, and he just talking. He said, I work my ass off. You feel me? Like, damn, nigga, you really do be working. Like, god damn, man, you really be working. You feel me? Like, you really just feel that shit. You really feel that shit. You really feel like it's not cap. So yeah, another de-esser on the tippity highs, doing like 1 or 2 dB, nothing crazy. The only thing special at this point I would say is I use the API 2500 again. I changed the settings, the knee, and I used the loud setting, which kind of like rams the signal a little bit more into the compressor, giving me a different tone, using it in parallel, really just getting a little bit of that, I'm having a bad mood type of parallel compression.
Yeah, I work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off. Still killing this shit, my bag out. Diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog. Yeah, I work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off. Still killing this shit, my bag out. Diamonds on my hand.
Now with that parallel compression, just a little bit of that VCA blended in on parallel. Now it sounds a little bit more convincing. Like Key Glock really say, I'm ready to go take all my ops head off. Like it really feels like that's not a threat. That's a promise. You feel me? Without the parallel compression, it felt like a threat. But with the parallel compression, it felt like a promise from Key Glock. You feel me? So that's what being an engineer is about. To me personally, you feel me? Just making things more believable, more real, giving a lift to the vocal, giving energy. You know, sometimes you might come into the studio and somebody's rapping with swag. You might want to take the API 2500, pair it in parallel, and now the rapper done gave you the swag, but now you as an engineer, you gonna step in and you gonna get the energy. You feel me? That's how you could do it with compression. But if you thought compression was only about taming peaks, you would have never known that. Feel me? So that's what compression is about. You know, the language, the color, the tone, the movement, the control, all this different stuff. And after that, I used API 2500 again on my reverb this time though, right? And I did sidechain. So if you guys want to do sidechain on, you know, Studio Rack, you click sidechain, you turn it on in this Studio Rack input, and you can do other stuff too. You know, you can sidechain it from different racks and all that shit like that. But at that point, using another Kramer tape, lo-fiing up the reverb, just dirtying up the reverb. You know, that boy came from the mud. I want to make the reverb have a little bit mud too, ain't it?
Work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off. Still killing this shit, my bag out. Diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog. Work my ass off. Can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off. Ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off. Fuck nigga bag off. Still tryna take my ops head off. Still killing this shit, my bag out. Diamonds on my hand, Glock, you a bad dog.
Great way to give even more energy to a rapper like Key Glock. He rapping right where he kind of rapping down a little bit. Great way to give energy with the reverb. You feel me? Lo-fiing up the reverb. The tape is adding up a little bit of excitement to the reverb. Also boosted a little bit of tape noise inside of the reverb. So now the reverb is kind of wiggling around with the you know, just a little bit of wow and flutter, a little bit of noise. All these things that the listener cannot hear, but they can feel it though. Even though the listener might not have an ear to hear all this shit, they can feel it. They could just feel like there's something more that's going on here. There's something more than the words he's just saying. So, okay, last thing real fast, let's go over the ad-libs. Of course, with the ad-libs, nothing crazy. They sound exactly like Key Glock. Had a little bit of distortion stomp, used it in parallel, used a little REQ, used a little RVox, you know, to just really press down on it, used the L1 to pump it up a little bit, generate a little distortion.
Work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off, ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off, fuck nigga bag off, still tryna take my ops head off, still killing this shit, my bag out, dummies, I'm work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off, ain't.
And, you know, we got it sounding exactly like Key Glock. The way we did that was kind of like the distortion going into the actual reverb and the delay, nothing crazy. Of course, the reverb has an extended high end. That's how you get that hair and that frill coming out of the reverb. So the ad-libs, yeah, it kind of gives it a little bit more sustain. Listen to like the hair, listen to the afro on the reverb of the ad-lib.
Yeah, I work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off, ain't tryin' none of these niggas.
But then towards the end, we got an SSL-G channel and with a gate, and that does not let that reverb with that hair extend the whole way. You feel me? So that's how you get that hair. You get the big splash, but then it cuts off. And it cuts off, and that kind of gives like, whoa, it's kind of like an exclamation mark for the you know, for the effects on the ad-libs pretty much.
Work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off, I work my ass off, can't worry about these bitches, yeah, I work my ass off, ain't tryin' none of these niggas, yeah, I ran that bag off, fuck nigga bag out, still tryna take my ops head off, still killing this shit, my bag out, dummies, I'm in GLOCK, you a bad dog. Yeah, I work my ass off, can't worry about.
That's the end of the video here for you today, guys. So if you do like this template, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, you can grab this template down below in the link in the description. Don't forget to check out the Patreon, where we drop even more exclusive, super secret, private, exclusive gems. You see these gems we dropped today? Oh, we be dropping even more at the Patreon. Trust me. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you, my YouTube family. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And drop more suggestions for artists y'all want to see me do now. Appreciate y'all. Peace.